Welcome back. We're back in the studio. We're going to get right back into our conversation. We were talking about the dynamics of same-sex parenting. But before we do, we're going to get Milton on the line.
Yes. Hello?
Good morning, Milton. Happy Sunday.
Good morning. Yes. I'm going to talk about life in general. Man was put on this earth to be fruitful and prosper. If man was put on this earth to be fruitful, why can't the priest have a wife?
That's a
well. Now, Milton. Now, wait. I hear where you're going, but we have to understand this dialogue. This started with the word choice.
Choice, right?
Everybody got to make their choice. There's no defined right or wrong. It's the choice that we make as adults.
Right. As an individual, as a human being, everything living on this earth can survive, but the white man, because the sun will destroy the white man. Too much sun, there's no such thing as too much sun. The white man is the only thing on earth living that the sun will harm.
Well, Milton, we appreciate your comment and we value you. And we got a little short on time, so we're going to go right on over to Madeline. Good morning, Madeline.
Yes, good morning. Yeah, my name is Madeline Sanders. I called in to make a comment about the discussion pertaining to who's more appropriate to raise children, whether it could be two people of the same sex or two or a heterosexual couple. And I'll say this in front of this. I have one child who was born a male. Of course, I told him he has the DNA of a male, even though he declared a few years ago he wanted to be a female. But I said, your DNA, it was that of a male, and you will always be a male. But that said, in terms of who's most appropriate to raise children, I heard one of the people there, one of the panelists, saying that you have girls who they have taken on the mantra of a male, and I understand that because I have a niece who's a bisexual, and her friend has taken on the role of a stud. So I know how those situations work. But that said, she still has the DNA of a female. Now, the fact that she's taken on the appearance of a stud, of trying to be a male, a lot of we talking about behavior that is learned in part, like etiquette. Like I see a lot of girls, I do substitute teaching. I see a lot of girls today who don't understand how to dress, how to wear makeup, and a whole laundry list of behaviors that they should learn, but they're not learning neither in the home or anywhere else. So
if I could just jump in really quick, Miss Madeline, I will say this. The topic of our discussion is we're not comparing who makes better parents, same-sex or heterosex. It is not a competition. What we're saying is both sides have the right to be parents, and neither is better than the other. So it's not a comparison. I just want to clear that up, and we appreciate your open and your honesty and your dialect.
Yes, I did hear you say that, and I want to be clear. I heard you say that. I know you're not doing a comparison between the two. I called in to weigh in from that perspective because I wanted to offer that perspective because I want the listening audience, Madeline Sanders, I want the listening audience to be clear that there is a difference in how the children will be raised, whether it's by two people of the same sex or a heterosexual couple. There is a difference. And so I wanted to put that, and I know that this is a short program, and therefore we don't really have time to engage in a lot of dialogue about this. So thanks for me just being able to put that piece of information before.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. You have a happy Sunday.
Let's make one response to that.
I do the same.
The biggest difference when you have a child being raised in a lesbian home or homosexual home is they are more accepting of people. They are less judging and more accepting because they've been ridiculed and criticized all of their lives. So they learn to become acceptance of things that society deems as abnormal. And I think that's a great thing.
Right before the break, Erica made a comment about that it's important for all kids to get love based on what she sees. So I would like you to elaborate on that, Erica.
I'm listening to this, and I understand perspectives, and everyone is entitled to it. But for me, as a practitioner, my biggest concern is making sure that children grow up and at least everybody has some level of dysfunction in their family, some level.
Absolutely.
But my goal, if I had a magic wand and I can make a wish, would be for kids to grow up in a situation that has the least amount of dysfunction possible. You want to raise children in an environment that their confidence is always bolstered, that they are loved, that they are not ridiculed, that they are comfortable in their skin, whatever that skin may be. And so if it's two women who can do that, great. If it's two men who can do that, great. If it's their mother and father, perfect. But the way things are set up, it's not always going to work out to what people believe is the plan, whether you believe that plan is the biblical plan or the whatever the case may be. You just want to have children who are fully developed emotionally, educationally, and financially provided for. That's what's important. I think we're missing the ball and looking at a red herring when we start focusing on what people do in their bedroom. That has nothing to do with the children. It has nothing to do with the children. The only time I'm concerned about a heterosexual or homosexual couple and what they do is if you start doing it in front of your kids.
Exactly. Or to your kids.
Or to your kids. That's the only time I care. Your kid shouldn't really know until perhaps high school when that's something that, you know, they're exploring what their sexual preference would be. But as kids, toddlers, they really shouldn't know. It's no different than if you have auntie or uncle or somebody in the house. The only time I'm concerned about your sex life is when you're doing something malicious to and around your kid. Or if you're coming at me and I'm telling you no. That's
Absolutely.
And not only that, we speak about parenting. Sometimes man and woman in a household isn't good for a child because some men and women are so dysfunctional, they ruin the child from the moment the child comes out of the womb. So who's
or in the womb.
Exactly, and in the womb because the energy is all digested. So who's to say what two parents look like? In essence, what it should look like is love. It should simply look like love, as Erica just spoken, right? We need to just love our children, be there for them, care for them, provide for them. Because otherwise, without that, what are you doing? You're raising more dysfunctional children. And lastly, there's no book on parenting.
None.
We parent and we learn as we go. And here's the thing: the children show up to teach us how we should be parenting with their response to us, but we don't listen to it because we're in this adultism where we think we're the adult, so we get to project all of our ideas and perspectives onto them. When in essence, when a child comes out, that child is there to teach you exactly who you are, and you learn that through who they become. But we don't pay attention to that.
Oh, yes, I do, because I learn every day. Well, hold on. We have Art on the line. Art, we're going to take your call.
Good morning, young people. How you doing?
Good morning.
All right. First of all, you all got to be kidding. You all can't be serious to say that if it is common sense that if a man and a woman are together, it is common sense that we know by what the Creator or nature has done, male and female procreate, and that's how that works. That's just a common sense thing. That's just not nothing. As children grow older and they read and get certain information. Let me finish, please. That two male and female are together, and it is common sense that some form of procreation going, whether they see it or not. That's just a common sense thing that man attracts a woman attracts a man. Now, this whole notion is of raising children. It is Man and woman are supposed to come together and naturally raise children. We're not to say because you have arguments and all that, that's a dysfunctional family and all that stuff. And to say that a child is more acceptable because he or she likes the same sex, they are more acceptable to accepting anything. That's crazy. You shouldn't have to accept anything. Normally, if something is wrong, it is wrong.
Who says anything?
Wrong is wrong. We can't fix it up in our mind because it's conducive to what we're trying to do in your bedroom. Because in your bedroom, it's natural for a man and a woman to be together. If you want to do something different, that's just a personal choice. But that's going to change something that's natural.
Mr. Art, I just want to... Hold on one second. Hold on.
You hit on the key phrase of the day.
In your bedroom.
Personal choice. That is the key phrase of the day. Personal choice. I do not have any right to tell you what to do in your house any more than you have a right to tell me what to do in mine. Because when you do that, you're infringing upon my liberties, and when I do that to you, I am infringing upon mine.
And now you become the European racist man, and you're perpetuating the problem. What makes you different?
Let's explore that. Then you can't say then out of your mouth that if a person in their house wants to abuse their child, you can't say, oh, you can't do that.
Yes, you can, because you can protect the child.
That is, the child doesn't have choice. See, the difference, you're trying to act like we're splitting hairs, and we're not splitting hairs, because, see, when two homosexuals decide to engage in activities, both of them have made a choice. That's a bilateral choice. That requires two people. When you abuse a child, that's a unilateral decision. One person has made a choice.
This is what you said in your own mouth. You cannot tell me what to do in my house.
I can tell you when you were abusing a child. Or put it like this, I don't have to tell you, but the law tells you.
The law would tell you.
Okay, now let's deal with the law.
But the law,
correct.
You're looking at biblical law. Biblical law does not determine everybody's life, and that's what you got to stop trying to push on people. That is what the European man perpetuating problems coming from that Bible. That Bible does not govern everybody's life.
Hold on. We all can't hear at the same time, so we're gonna calm this down. First of all, we're gonna calm this down, and we're gonna close with this. You cannot put children in an adult's place. When you speak choice, adults are in the mind frame to make a choice. Children are children because they have not matured to become adults to make a choice. The choice is up to the adult, and whatever that they choose, you or I or anyone else does not have the right to condemn or condone. Now, when it comes to illegal activity and things of that nature, the law is in place for that. So we respect your views, and we hope you respect ours, and we're going to turn it back over to our panel discussion. You have a happy Sunday, Art.
Child abuse is not a choice. I repeat, child abuse is not a choice.
I didn't choose incest.
That is not a choice.
I didn't choose sexual abuse. I didn't choose any of that, right?
You don't have a choice in that.
I think we as a whole have become so indoctrinated, and as we come out back to the womb, there are certain beliefs that we are just raised upon. We're raised in them, and we're not being given choices to decide on what it is we want to think, feel, and believe. These things are forced on us. So when you hear somebody say, I don't think it's right for two homosexuals to raise a child, well, I don't think it's right for an abusive man to be in the home with a child. How about that, right? But there are abusive men in the homes with children, so we don't get to dictate what goes on in somebody's house. My husband always told me this. If I'm in a house with my wife and my child, and I allow somebody outside of my home to tell me what to do, then you may as well be running my home. How does that work? How does someone on the outside run a house on the inside when you're not there, based on your own your perspectives and your belief systems? So you're going to project your beliefs into my household? We can't do that, and that's what we're doing.
How about this? We're going to take it one step further and going off the edge. I'm going to go on and jump off the cliff this morning.
Jump, girl.
Listen, I'm going to put it this way. You got people with less than financially.
Yes.
And a whole lot of love.
Yes.
You got people that are the same sex and got a whole lot of love.
Yes.
You got a lot of kids out here, whether they were wanted or whatever the situation presented itself, they don't have a home at all.
At all.
Nowhere to call home, and living around, going around from foster care, foster home to foster home with a garbage bag to signify what they worth.
Yes.
So we're going to take it back to this. I'd rather have two same-sex people love on that child, embrace that child, build that child up to be a good person and grow up in this world than a lot of kids, not even just foster care. How about homeless? Period.
Exactly.
On the street, on Wacker Drive. Okay, so all these opinions and all these different things, we have got to understand a lot of these the abusive situations and things that's going on all spear out of non-loving situations. And if there are two people that have love, that can share love, promote love, and raise a child, let them do that. Because the last time I checked, whether it's me and my husband, or a husband and a husband, or a wife and a wife, when they go in that room and have sex, the kid ain't included.
That ain't none of our business.
It ain't none of the kids' business. That's why my grandmama used to say, stay in a child's place. Let's keep the kids in the kids' place and being raised.
That's right.
Not incorporate our thoughts as adults into kids.
That's right.
And with that, we're going to turn it over. We have a caller, Miss Denise, on the line.
Yes, I just have a question to ask, and first of all, I want to preface it with saying that I do agree that, the affection and love that is given to children is utmost important. But I have just heard so many people that have been sexually abused. We hear it over and over again with the Catholic priests and things that happen to children in home and incest, where people have themselves stated that they have evolved into this homosexual lifestyle because of that abuse. And so, I don't hear people talking about that. I only hear you talking about the choice that a person makes. But there are people who have been pushed into this lifestyle because of this kind of behavior. And so, where's the discussion about that in terms of a healthy relationship with children?
I'll address that. I think we have to unpack your question. First of all, in many situations, when there is incestuous situations, child molestation, it's not necessarily homosexual based. So if the argument is that has pushed them into a homosexual lifestyle, first of all, I'm not sure that the data proves that, but I don't have any information to prove that it doesn't. But before you even get to any issues of homosexuality, you have to deal with instances of incestuous situations and child molestation. That's the first problem. The homosexuality is an aside. Child molestation is bad. I think everybody agrees. Child molestation is bad. Okay, so you have to deal with that first. Now, if there is validity to the argument that from being molested or being improperly touched or anything else as a child, you were then pushed into a homosexual lifestyle, which personally I'm not convinced of. And I guess because as a friend of the LGBT community, I have plenty of friends who they were never molested, and from the time they were of age, they knew that they just were not attracted to people of the opposite sex. They were coded that way. They were born that way. It is what it is. But let's say that a situation caused that. Again, it still goes back to molestation and us not being quiet about it. It's somewhat like this whole suicide thing that we have going on in our country right now. We have to start talking about these things. It shouldn't be, somebody is being patted on the back because they admitted that somebody did something wrong to them. People should feel comfortable coming out saying, such and such touched me and it wasn't right. And then once they admit that this happens to them, the person who offended them, the offender is addressed, and then the person who had it happen to them, the victim, gets counseling so that if they are coded to be heterosexual, that this event doesn't make them do something contrary to what they would normally do. And if they were going to be homosexual, they carry on with their life as it were. But we have to deal with the molestation piece first.
Right, and I can speak directly to that because I have personally experienced incest, sexual abuse, rape, all of it, all 6 areas of abuse I've experienced. So mine was with woman and man. Now, it doesn't make you homosexual or lesbian. No, it doesn't make you that, because homosexuality and lesbianism, that's a lifestyle. Remember, homosexuality, remember the word sex? There's a sex piece in there, but it makes you confused about who you want to sleep with. It doesn't make you homosexual. It doesn't make you lesbian. I was introduced